Hey everybody. So today I thought we would try to make one of the most requested dishes, side dishes, that I've ever heard you ask for, Emma. You love those potatoes, and I happened to uh, pick some up at the grocery store, and we're gonna just pretend that you're here and you're gonna be getting ready to eat some of these potatoes. So they're kind of like fried potatoes, um, and they do take a little bit of time to make because you're not gonna just put them in the boiling water like you would mashed potatoes and you can walk away for a while. These you have to kind of manage and stand by the stove and stir them and stuff like that. So but that's okay because I think they're worth it because you've let me know that more than a few times over the years. So let me show you what we need to get that started, and we'll see how it turns out, like everything else. Okay. Okay, so um, I picked these up yesterday, actually. Just a big bag of russet potatoes at the grocery store, and it's funny how I actually like to look at the ones that I like the shape of to pick out. So, like some of them are real small, and I'd rather have like a large potato. Just makes it easier for peeling, for me anyway. But we got these. You're gonna need some kind of oil to cook these things in. So I happen to have just an industrial size of vegetable oil here. You could also use olive oil, which is a healthier option, I guess. But I've got this one today, and that's what you're used to eating, Emma. So anyway, let's see. We've got some fully cooked bacon, so we're gonna cheat a little bit by not having to cook our bacon as a crumbly topping for these guys. I've also got, these are scallions. These are green onions. Now, you probably have had these before, but maybe you've never gone and sorted them out from all of the things that they sell at the grocery store. Usually they're in an area where they have the automatic sprayers come on and you have to go pick a bunch of them for yourself. But these are so inexpensive and they actually give a lot of flavor to the dish if I can get them out of this bag, you know what I mean? So there's a white end, and I think there's actually a little bit more flavor, like a stronger flavor in the white end, but I basically will show you how I cut them like right about here, and I use everything from there up in the dish. So we'll get to that in a minute. Again, the sour cream, I didn't forget you today. So I'm going to put it back in the fridge though while we create this, and then some ketchup, which again, I know we have some in the house here. I literally don't know where it is. So we got to find some more ketchup, but we'll do it. So all right, let's get started. Okay, so just real quick, here is an amendment to the ingredients list. So just got some pepper, some salt, some paprika, some cheese, and I used white American. That is it's giving me a struggle to open it, but anyway, I used about 4 slices of this cheese in the recipe, and then some butter, and this is salted butter. I mean, I probably used a few small pieces of this, maybe, see how it tells you how many tablespoons there are. I mean, I probably used like 2 tablespoons, so I used like this piece and this piece. So I would have chopped it off right here and used this amount. So that should do it. And finally, 1 large to medium sized yellow onion. Okay, so actually I just went ahead and moved my cutting board over to here so I can get to work there. I've got a vegetable peeler to get the skins off the potatoes. You don't really have to take them off. I think there's actually a lot of nutrients in the skins, but that's how I do it. Got a sharp knife and just something to hold these potatoes for me to work with. So like grab yourself a bowl or something. Okay, so I'm gonna start peeling these potatoes. Make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potatoes today so that I have a little bit extra on on hand if I want to do something else with them later in the week. So I'm gonna start getting these rinsed off real quick and then chop them up. And I'm gonna get that cheese out of the fridge too. Okay, so I chopped off the top and the bottom of the onion, and now I'm just giving this onion a quick pass through with the knife. And these are not going to be equal sizes. I'm not an expert at chopping anything, and my eyes are watering. And I think I actually did at one time watch a video on YouTube about how to properly cut an onion so your eyes don't water. And sometimes they tell you if you hold like a piece of white bread between your teeth, it'll prevent your eyes from watering and stuff like that. So I know there are ways around it, but I guess I'm just that stubborn that I didn't worry about it today. So anyway, we got some onion bits there. The potato time. So just gonna keep cutting them until they get into smaller pieces. Something like that, I guess. And we'll throw them right into the bowl. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. I'll be back in a minute. So actually, I'm standing here cutting these potatoes, and a couple of months back, I had some students who were in my house, and they had to do like a little cooking project for an assignment, I guess, for school. And for those of you who don't know, I've been, for about the past 7 years, I've been doing all kinds of things. I've been a caretaker. I've been out of my corporate job, but 20 years of doing that. And this is like a whole new world for me. So I've learned to do some things in the kitchen. Like I'm learning how to cook basically, because I never used to do that. I used to, eat out all the time and things like that. So, much like students, they don't necessarily have any experience in the kitchen. So, we kind of learn together sometimes. But anyway, back to my story. So I had some students in the house that I was taking care of, because I kind of run like a boarding house for students from around the world, and it has been a very enlightening experience. So I had some girls here one Sunday afternoon, and they asked me to help them just find like a knife to use, and if I have a potato masher and a cutting board, things like that or whatever. So I came down to the kitchen and helped them get set up for making their mashed potatoes that they wanted to make. So I thought, oh, this is going to be pretty cool. I'll see how it turns out for them. So I offered to help them, like stand by them in the kitchen while they were cooking, right? And, I offered a few times. They didn't want the help. So I was like, okay, no problem. So, about an hour later or so, I realized they were not successful in what they were trying to do. And I came in and I saw what happened. So here they had the handheld potato masher. They were trying to mash the potatoes before they were cooked. So if you've ever had your hand on a potato that's not cooked, it's pretty solid, right? So can you imagine trying to mash a potato that wasn't cooked? I mean, that was a workout. That was like a Planet Fitness workout right there. And I'm sure their arms were sore the next day, because you're trying to mash a bag of potatoes that haven't been cooked yet. I thought, so I told them, I was like, well, you got to cook those first. You got to put those on the stove and cook them so they get soft. And then you can mash them, okay? So I just, because they were actually following some recipes that they saw online, they said, and I said, oh man, I don't know how that's possible that they wouldn't tell you got to cook those potatoes first. But anyway, that was just, so they ended up like throwing them out and I think eating some donuts or whatever for lunch. I was like, well, it was just, I thought, well, it's one of those things you don't know how do you know you don't know? You know, I mean, you don't. But I had to tell you, I mean, I think they'll always remember that, you know. And cooking shouldn't scare you, you know. So but that's how you learn sometimes. Trial and error, right? So or if you're stubborn like me, sometimes you just never learn. You just roll with it. So anyway, we've got, look at all these potatoes. This was 6 potatoes, and then the onions are tucked underneath. So we're gonna put some of that oil in the pan, in the frying pan, and get these cooking. All right, so let's go do that. Anyway, I'm gonna just pour some of this oil into the pan. It's probably gonna be about a quarter cup of oil, just enough to put a little coating on the bottom. Okay, and I'm gonna wash my hands. Swirl it all around the pan. So literally just the bottom of the pan is all slick, okay? And we go get the potatoes. Okay. Ooh, those crows out there. They're talking today. Okay, so potatoes and onions, I'm just gonna throw them in there right now. All right, that's everything. And grab a spoon or something here. Okay. So this is what we're working with: potatoes, and onions. And we're gonna cook these for, I mean, this is gonna take a while. I mean, it might take you like 45 minutes on the stove, honestly, because you know, they gotta get soft and chewable. So I'm gonna stay here and mix them around for a while. You hear it starting to sizzle. So just keep mixing them, and you might want to put some music on. You know, I constantly listen to, I have like an Echo over here, and I'm playing music all day. So that helps me pass the time. And yeah, so this is what I'm doing. All right, sorry I'm talking too much. So I'm about 5 minutes in on cooking the potatoes and the onions, and you know, that's when the kitchen starts to smell really good. You know, when you start to smell the heat of, you know, the potatoes and the onions kind of sweating down in the pan. So that makes me hungry. There's another ingredient that can help flavor these up, which is paprika, and I think I'm gonna put some of that in here too. All right, my pan is going full force. I'm gonna put some of this paprika right on these potatoes, and then give it a good mix, and I'll show you how they look a little bit orange. Okay, so give me just a minute. Okay, that's what it looks like after the paprika's on. They're a different color. They're getting tasty. They're softening up. So I just put some pepper on there. I put quite a bit on there just a few seconds ago, actually, so I'll just put a little bit more. And sprinkle some salt. I got some sea salt here. And I'm going to mix that all up. So, case in point, note to self, when you're cooking, try not to like walk out of the room to answer the door or something like that. You know, stay by your food, because in a split second something could change, and you know, you definitely want to just keep in mind, you know, safety first, right? And in yesterday's video, we were cooking, what were we cooking? It was Taco Tuesday. And those tacos are really good. But something that occurred to me I wanted to mention about that too is if you're cooking you're cooking meat or something like that, and it's going to give off some fat when you cook it. It's going to get real juicy maybe in the pan, for example. Anytime we have something like that that we need to dispose of, just don't pour it down the sink, because your sink, like our sink gets clogged. It's actually got water backed up in it right now. So, you don't want to pour things that can clog the sink down there, and fats can solidify and not allow the water to pass through the pipes in the house, and that is something you don't want to have to worry about. So the pipes in our house are just a whole nother story. I'll tell you about that someday, but it's not backed up from us not having from us pouring fats and grease down the sink, basically. But so yeah, if you're cooking something and you need to dispose of like a bunch of grease or fat, some people will like even make suet out of it for feeding like the birds or the animals outside, which every day I'm cooking for somebody. We've got kids in the house, we've got students in the house, me, Kirk, the animals. It's kind of always busy, and sometimes we've got like 4 students here. Sometimes we've got more than that if they have their friends over, or the soccer team, for example. Sometimes we've got family coming in to visit, so we usually make like large quantities of food and shop at discount stores like BJ's. There's other places like Costco and Sam's too. So if you know how to do that kind of bulk buying, you definitely can save some money. I feel like it's such a valuable resource. I try not to waste. I try not to waste any food. If we can't eat it in the house, I'll definitely just go put it out for the animals. Potatoes. Emma, you're gonna have some potatoes. Don't be afraid of cooking these things. I know I've mentioned it to you before, and it does take some time. This does take some time, but you know what? I know that if you were here, you would be standing right here helping me, because like everybody says, you're such a hard worker, and it doesn't feel like work when you're doing something you're looking forward to. So I don't know. I'm guessing you would feel like that, based on, conversations we've had. And I just miss you, and I hope you get down here to see us. We're going to have to figure that out. We're going to figure that out. So anyway, these potatoes are getting close to done. How about I go over and see what else I need to do real quick. Okay, so I've got the scallions here. Just going to take off those rubber bands. I'm going to rinse them real quick under the water. It's funny, I was thinking about all the animals we have outside, I was just talking about that. We have rabbits, we had stray dogs one day, or I guess maybe they belong to somebody in the neighborhood here. They got through the fence, so that was a surprise. Got 2 big dogs in the backyard, and so they must have been hungry. They ate some of the food that was out there for the cats. Man, what else? And one of the coolest animals that we have in the yard, on occasion, we have hawks. I'll have to check and see what kind of hawk that was, but oh my god, gorgeous animal. And we have owls, and I really love hearing the owls at night. You even hear them in the daytime sometimes, but man, nature is so amazing. And anyway, back to scallions. I think we used to have these growing on our yard when I was younger, and I used to pick them. But these are tasty. Look, you can chop the little ends off, and sometimes I'll just trim off the top edges too, because sometimes they're a little dark. So you got a rockin' mohawk there on that guy. So these are, again, you know, you can use all of this. Cut off that, chopped off these tops, and, you know, just cut them up. Watch your fingers. You know, you can do the claw with your one hand and then, you know, try to slice through. Just cut them into little pieces like you would sprinkle them on top of those potatoes. You know, so little pieces like that. All right, let me go do this real quick. Okay, so got the green onions chopped up there. We'll probably use about half of those on top of the potatoes. Next thing I just want to take you back to real quick is the fully cooked bacon. So there's all kinds out there in the grocery store, or you could just get the regular bacon. If you're going to cook that, you just put it in the frying pan, or, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to cook bacon, but this has already been cooked. So I'm just going to take a few pieces of it out of the container here. I think I have like 3 of them. And the rest will go back into the refrigerator. And probably don't even need to cut it. You can break it up with your hands, but I'll just try to cut through it a little bit. Because everybody loves bacon, right? I do like a nice bacon cheeseburger. Sometimes you get that really long piece of bacon and it's like hanging out of your mouth. You can't bite through it. So I like things cut up a little bit so they're easier to eat. Now that doesn't really look like it's enough bacon to me, but you know what? I really want to save some for later, so we're just going to go with a little bit right now. All right. Let me go back to the potatoes now. Okay, so decided to just add a little bit of butter in there just for flavor. Just dropped a few little butter nuggets right in there. So I'm gonna mix that up, and we're gonna be probably about 5 minutes out from turning these off. I think they're you know, they're pretty soft. So if I take my knife, which is where's my knife? Okay, and run back over here. You know, you just like want to poke it and see how nice and soft it is and tender. That's how you know if you want to eat it. You know, you don't want to eat a hard potato, obviously. So, okay. All right, so I mixed this up, and the butter has disappeared into the potatoes. What I'm going to do is, we've got this big old container of white American cheese. I'm just going to kind of break this up and put it right over the potatoes in the pan. And it's going to melt, so it doesn't really matter how it looks when you put it in there. Just put it in there. I'll show you what this looks like. So I just put some white American cheese over top of these potatoes. I'm actually going to turn off the stove right now, and it'll get nice and melty when I throw the lid on the pan. So actually I'm going to let a little bit of the steam come out. It's not perfectly set on there. So we'll check back and see in about another minute. It's going to be nice and melty. Okay, let's see. How are we doing in there? Okay, yeah, now that cheese is all melted, we're going to just put the lid over here and start adding some of these little toppings. I've got the bacon bits and the scallions, so I'm just going to grab a handful of these and sprinkle them across the top. Nice little decoration, tasty little decoration. And the bacon. So again, you know, just add as much as you want there. I definitely want to use all of it. just about there. And look at this. Now, I will tell you, this took me about an hour to do today because I had a few start and stop situations. But these potatoes are going to taste just as good as ever. So, yeah, they're going to be ready to go. And I would just pull up a bowl and get a nice big spoon and get that sour cream right on there. So that's where I'm going with that. And, you know, it takes a little time, but I think it's worth it. And Emma, I know you really enjoy this, so I will talk to you soon, and we're good. You know what? It's good. It's good. I couldn't help myself. I dug in, and I put a ton of sour cream on it, and I just don't care. It's really good. You know, as Noah says, I don't hate that. Which in other words is like, I really like that, or I love it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. So, everybody, have a good day. I'm going to enjoy this, and then I'm going to go do some dog walks. All right. See you soon.